Friday, February 4th, 2022. I'm going to be very candid with all of you. They fed everybody a ton of BS today. Just unbelievable the extent they are going with really trying to fool everybody into believing that the jobs report was at 467,000 jobs, that the economy is doing incredibly well, that unemployment is only 4%. But we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into this video. But these markets should have been absolutely devastated today, destroyed. But they weren't, because we got these artificial job numbers, or this artificial job report today, that 467,000 jobs were created in the month of January. NASDAQ did bounce back a bit today. I think it was up 190 some odd points. Dow was down 21 points. But we saw tech rebounding today. And in doing so, of course, Bitcoin skyrocketing today, because it pretty much trades now alongside with tech stocks. And so tech up today, Bitcoin up today. The markets, though, know that we are going to see a rate hike. And I believe that because they didn't buy this job gain of 467,000. What this means now, I believe that they force-fed us this fake data that there are 467,000 jobs gained in January. Well, this means now you can bet, you can guarantee we're going to get a rate hike in March, no doubt. And that rate hike is probably going to be a half a percentage point, no doubt. Why 25 basis points? Why not 50 now? Everything's booming. We have unemployment at 4%, 467,000 jobs reported in the month of January. The economy's booming, the consumer's strong. Why not raise rates today? Let's just get it over with. Is this purposely being done? I must ask all of you, comment down below. Is this purposely being done? Are they throwing this artificial data out there on purpose so that the Fed has to react, the Fed has to act and raise rates maybe higher than expected? Instead of, I really thought it would be 25 basis points. Now I believe there's a very, very good chance it's going to be 50 basis points. Because of this news. Many people out there believe that the Fed has their back. Don't fight the Fed. But as soon as they raise rates, everybody will be fighting the Fed. But could the Fed purposely destroy these markets on purpose? And is this the way that they would do it, by fooling everybody, telling us, reassuring all of us that everything's incredibly well with the economy, massive job recovery, the consumer strong, tech stocks booming, Wall Street booming. So we're going to raise rates, everything should be okay. Is this all being done on purpose to fool people? I mean, if you have a booming economy, if you have massive job growth, if you have low unemployment, why wouldn't you be raising rates? But we all know that we don't. We know that real unemployment is horrendous. We know that the consumer is the weakest they've been since I can remember. And we all know that this is total BS, that we gained 467,000 jobs in the month of January. Complete baloney. Payroll shows, surprisingly, this on CNBC, powerful gain of 467,000 in January, despite this health crisis surge. How shocking, right? I mean, even CNBC came out today and said, surprisingly. Nobody can believe this. And when we look at where the jobs are, of course, most of the jobs in this artificial data was in leisure and hospitality, the worst sector. I just talked about this, that leisure and hospitality jobs have been hit harder than any other sector. But now we have massive job gains in leisure and hospitality. This one from CNBC, strong jobs and wage gains fuel concern that the Federal Reserve could raise rates even faster. Again, it's almost like they're setting us up for a crash. Let's go back to what ADP reported yesterday, 301,000 job losses in January. Yesterday, we got the jobless claims for last week. They came in at 238,000. So it's last week, 238,000 Americans filed first-time jobless claims. Goldman Sachs, just a day or two ago, predicted that we would see 250,000 job losses in January. We had reports that we would see possibly up to 450,000 job losses, but we have a 467,000 gain. Unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, think about that. It's just so incredible, the extent they're going to fool everybody. Do you really, really believe that we gained 467,000 jobs in January? Now, I read this article on The Hedge, and I'm just going to kind of paraphrase through it here. But if you get a chance, check it out. Let this airplane fly over. It's titled, "Here is what's behind today's stunning payroll beat." And just to go through this really quickly, November, they revised the job numbers from 249,000 to 647,000. In December, they revised the numbers from 199,000 to 510,000. March to July was revised lower by 1.06 million, while August to December was revised up by 817,000. So to me, without getting too technical, and I didn't read this whole article, but to me, it seems like they are just manipulating the numbers, revising over here to revise over here, revising a little bit over here to raise the job numbers over here. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're just taking away and revising some of the numbers from the past and putting those jobs in the present. This is very, very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. There are so many people that are making life-altering decisions. They're making investments based on the data that they are getting. And many people are in the dark. They believe everything is okay, and they're believing everything they're being told. California budget surplus is big enough to give every resident a $1,100 stimulus check, state lawmaker says. Reading this today, I think this was on ABC News. California, again, wants to give out free money. It has a $45 billion surplus. Now, remember, how did it get that surplus? Well, it got $151 billion in federal economic relief for the health crisis. So now we have all this excess money, I guess. And so instead of spending it on infrastructure, instead of spending it on cleaning up all the trash along the freeway, instead of helping the homeless, instead of maybe cleaning up downtown Los Angeles or downtown San Diego, or maybe really giving people real help instead of just giving them some crumbs, $1,100. I mean, this is where we're at today, ladies and gentlemen. And people will take the money, of course, and it's just like they treat everybody like peasants. All this money that was given to the state of California, and literally much of the state looks like a third world country, and people are really suffering. You would think with billions of dollars in surplus, maybe we could build some factories. Maybe we could build some type of industry here where people could actually go to work and make things and manufacture things and know how to do something. Maybe we could take that money and invest it in people and teach people how to have a skill set, a trade. But no, they'd rather just give you a couple crumbs. But they don't want you to know how to do anything. They don't want to give you a job. They don't want to give you a career. They don't want to give you a trade or a skill set. They just want to give you some crumbs, just enough. Really, really sad. I was reading also on CNBC today, Snap shares soar more than 53% after earnings show it's weathering Apple's privacy changes. Amazon up 13% today. Pine Trust up 11% today. Peloton up 32% today. Rumors that Amazon could be a potential buyer of Peloton. And I bring this up because is this going to save the economy? Because of Amazon and Peloton and Pine Trust and Snap and all these tech companies, is this really going to save the U.S. economy? Is this really going to save you? Is this really going to help your day-to-day life? I don't think it really is. You look at Peloton, and I looked up today, where are Peloton bikes made? Well, majority of their bikes are made in China. So again, how does this help the average American, the average consumer, the average worker in America when we see these companies, tech companies exploding on Wall Street, but what are they really giving the average American other than maybe some convenience and entertainment on the internet or on their computers? But at some point, the average American isn't going to be able to afford a Peloton bike. They're not going to be able to afford to buy stuff on Amazon if they don't have a real job. So again, how is this? I mean, it's all great news, right? I mean, this saved the stock market today. The tech world saved the stock market yet again today. But how does this really help the American economy, and how does this help the American consumer? Another article today, American Dream Mega Mall nearly empties its reserves to make a bond payment. Here, I mean, this is the reality. We are seeing more vacant buildings, and we are going to see more vacant real estate crashing to the ground. We're going to see housing at some point come crashing down. We're going to see this economy come crashing down. Every day I'm watching this economy collapse, and so are you. And there are still people out there who are so ignorant and foolish who, oh, JB, you've been talking about this for 2 years. I will talk about it for the next 2 years if I have to. You know, you look at Michael Burry in The Big Short. This guy was coughing up, $20 million a month shorting the market, but because he knew that it was going to crash. He didn't know when. He knew it wasn't going to be very long, but they laughed at this guy for 2 years while he was shorting the housing market. Well, at the end of the day, 2 years later, they weren't laughing. And everybody just believes like, oh, bubbles only last for 6 months or a year, and they just go away. And you've been talking about this for 2-3 years. This bubble, not this bubble, but these bubbles, plural, have been inflating for years. And this is why we have record bubbles right now globally, across the globe. And this is why this will be the worst Great Depression the world has ever seen. And it's going to be a global depression. I don't get when, people go, you've been talking about this for 2 years. Well, yeah, I've been talking about it for 2 years because I've been living through it for 2 years. I've been witnessing it for 2 years, just like 98% of the people watching these videos. And so if you talk about something for a year or two and it doesn't happen, it means it's not true. Like when I go out to city after city after city and I see homeless, thousands and thousands and thousands of homeless. I see people living in vans. We have 40 million people living in poverty in this country. We have 14% of this population not getting enough food. We have $30 trillion in debt. We have $200 trillion if you include unfunded liabilities. The debts are historic. The deficits are historic. We are absolutely getting destroyed in trade. $100+ billion trade deficit for the month of December. And people will sit here and question me because I've been calling this for 2 years. I'm going to keep calling it because we are in the midst of a collapse. And there are people so ignorant and foolish, they don't see it. Yet they're probably dependent on the government to give them money. They're probably collecting unemployment right now. It's really unbelievable how people think and how blinded they really are because they just turn on the television, even though they don't have a job, or they have a job, they're making minimum wage, and they have 4 roommates, or they had to move back and live with their family. Or their car's about ready to be repoed, or they're going to be dependent on this $1,100 stimulus check from the state of California. These same people who are sleeping on somebody's couch or living in a garage, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you shouldn't have, your standard of living is declining every day, yet you're questioning me on my thoughts and saying that there's no doubt we are living in a depression right now. We are living in a collapsing economy where we are watching a collapsing dollar. We are watching a collapsing standard of living, and you still don't get it. Well, look, I'm happy you're still watching these videos, and I want you to continue to watch these videos because maybe you'll read some comments down below and see what other people are saying, what's happening in other cities, other states, other parts of the world. This is really getting scary, ladies and gentlemen. And what's really scary is how they can bold face just lie to you. Straight up just lie to you today. These numbers, I mean, I could not even believe when they came out with this 467,000, job creation report today, whatever, this BS. Let me go back to this mega mall in New Jersey. It has been crippled by construction delays and stalled by store openings. It's now running out of money. And we're going to continue to watch this commercial real estate depression take place. I've never seen anything like it. I reported to you last week when I was in San Diego. I could not believe the amount of vacant real estate in San Diego. Developers emptied a reserve account to make a $9.3 million payment that was due Tuesday on about $290 million of debt. It says here they may not be able to make another payment. So who's on the hook for the mall? What happens if they can't finish it? What happens if they can't pay the debt? What happens? Who's on the hook? Is it your bank? Is it your hedge fund? Is it your investment company? Who's on the hook? Just like who's on the hook for all this, all these Chinese development companies who are going belly up in China right now? Is it your bank, your investment company, your hedge fund? Who's in it? Is it your pension? How many pensions are in this garbage? Yet people believe nothing bad is happening. People believe the Fed's going to come and save them. Be careful with your trust in the Fed. They can bring things down just as fast as they brought things up. In fact, they can bring it down much faster. And is that the plan? We keep hearing about the wealth transfer. Is that the plan? Sucker everybody into these markets, tell you how good the economy's doing, tell you how many people are working, unemployment 4%, massive job creation, jobs report is just, it's ecstatic. We're going to raise rates. It's going to be fine. Don't worry. And then maybe we'll raise rates again and again. And we'll find out just how strong the economy and these markets really are when they begin to shorten up the balance sheet and raise rates. Who's going to buy all the treasuries and mortgage-backed securities when the Fed isn't? Ask yourself that. This is how sick the economy and these markets are. The Fed has to buy it all or it all collapses because it's all fake. It's all artificial. And people either don't want to believe that or can't believe that. Now, I know there's people making money in the markets, but you got to be betting big now to be making real money in these markets. And I know people don't want the party to end, and they don't care that it is a fraudulent fraudulent market as long as they're making money. I understand that, but what happens when it all collapses? Then people will say, "Oh, this is all fraud. We were set up. It was a fraud." No, it was a fraud years ago. It's been a fraud for decades, and you knew it, and you gambled in it, and you speculated in it, and it was fine when you were making money. But watch how people who say don't fight the Fed, watch how quick they fight the Fed as soon as the Fed acts. As soon as the Fed begins to get a little aggressive, as soon as the Fed begins to raise rates, as soon as the Fed begins to buy all those begins to stop buying all those treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, watch how many people go from don't fight the Fed to, hey, we have to fight the Fed because now everything is crumbling. So I'm going to leave it there. Have a wonderful weekend. It's a good weekend to get out and buy some extra food, canned food, bottled water, barter type items, cigarettes, booze, things like that, matches. Think about what you can use to barter. You should have some items put away to barter with. You should have real assets like gold, like silver. You should have some cash put away. Extra candles, extra medicine, extra vitamins, things like that. It's a good weekend to go out and spend $10, $100, $1,000, whatever you can afford. It's a good weekend to go out while you can get it. I'm looking at that deep freeze in Texas. Aaron Early, I hope you checked out his video last night, Texas Silver, and he made some really, really good points. That's a great channel. I've known Aaron for years. That guy walks the walk, heart of gold. Check out that channel, Texas Silver, if you haven't already. Just being prepared, not just for a financial collapse, but a natural disaster. They can happen. We have earthquakes out here. Areas have floods. Texas having a deep freeze right now. You look at the East Coast with snow. I mean, we all have to be prepared for any type of an emergency, whether that's a grid that goes down, a cyber attack, an economic collapse, a dollar collapse, a snowstorm, an earthquake, a tornado. We got to really, really be self-sufficient as much as we can because we never know what tomorrow brings. God bless. Have a great weekend.